Hello guys and welcome back to this Ollie's on the Ball video. So this is just a bit of a real AFL video. It's AFL season's nearly over, so I might do a couple of ranking videos. If you like them, if you like it, I will probably continue with these. So this is ranking AFL stadiums. So I've got all the 2024 AFL stadiums here, so we better get into it. First one is Mount Barker, Adelaide Hills, which is only used for gather round. Last year I hosted one game, this year I hosted two. Pretty small venue, but it seems to provide a pretty good atmosphere, serves its purpose for gather round in the Adelaide Hills, so I think it's a decent venue. Most of the seating's temporary, but still not too bad. So to kick things off, I reckon I'm going to chuck it in the B tier. Next stadium is GMHBA Stadium. Recently renovated, where the Cats play most of their home games. They also play a couple at the MCG. It's a pretty good venue, being all four main stands being renovated now, with the Joel Selwood stand being opened in early 2024. So I think the capacity is now about 40,000. Perfect size for Geelong. They actually sell it out most weeks. Yeah, it's a pretty modern stadium, pretty big. I think the atmosphere is always good with Geelong. And it's pretty narrow though, so it's hard to play at for away teams. So I reckon I'm going to put it in a solid B tier, and I might move the Mount Barker down to a C tier. Next stadium is TIO Stadium in Darwin, which only sees usually about 2 AFL games a year, so not many, but the Suns usually play 2 in a row there, so they play 1 in the week, like 2 in 2 weeks. They go on sort of a camp. So it's not too bad. It's got one main stand and then like a hill grass area on the other side. Holds about 10,000 people. Yeah, it doesn't go too badly for how, like, being in Darwin. So always a good atmosphere, given they don't get much footy up there. So I reckon I'm going to put it in a solid C tier. I reckon I'm going to put it behind Adelaide Hills. Next stadium, another stadium that doesn't host much, is Mars Stadium. So I'll say if I've been to the stadiums, I haven't been to any of these so far. Mars Stadium, in Ballarat, has got sort of a main stand, then a small stand. So it's got stands on like nearly one half of the ground, the rest is grass. I think it holds about 12,000. The Bulldogs usually get pretty good crowds. They're playing 2 or 3 home games a year, so in Ballarat. Looks a pretty good venue, probably a good size for Ballarat. And not too much to say about it. It was going to get renovated for the 2026 Commonwealth Games, but as you probably already know, Victorian government decided they don't want to host them anymore. So, it is, now staying as it is, and I reckon I put it's pretty solid. I put it in the C tier, in between the two stadiums. Norwood Oval, another gather round venue. Pretty good stadium. It's not amazing, but home to Norwood Redlegs in the Sandful. It wouldn't be hosting AFL without gather round, but it's not too bad. It fills the purpose. It serves the purpose of gather round being gather round. So I reckon I will put it in a solid C tier. I know there's a lot of C tier stadiums, but the others will start to get in better tiers. Here we have TIO Traeger Park in Alice Springs. Decent stadium. Melbourne play a home game, I think one home game a year. Doesn't hold too many people, but serves the purpose. I'm not gonna say too much about the stadium. Another C tier, but now we should be moving into the better stadiums. So now we've got the Gabba, Brisbane Lions home ground. It's a pretty good ground. It is quite old and probably is due of a renovation, which was going to happen for the Brisbane 2032 Olympics, but is now not happening. Capacity 42,000. The Lions always get a good crowd up there, and are usually pretty hard to beat. So I reckon it's definitely higher on the rankings. I reckon I'm going to put it ahead of GMHBA Stadium B tier. Now, finally, some stadiums that I've been to. Utah Stadium. I recently went to this stadium to watch St Kilda Hawthorn. There is a vlog out on the channel. It's not a great vlog, it's just mostly clips of the game. It had a pretty good atmosphere though. With, I think there was 15,000 people there for a Saints Hawks game. But apart from that, there's not too much else to say about it. Pretty good ground, but nothing overly special. Perfect size really for the Hawks. They usually get pretty good attendances. So, I'm going to put it top of C tier. Okay, next ground, we have Marvel Stadium. Now, I've been to this ground a couple of times. Not a bad ground, not too old, only 20 years old, built in 2000. Home to quite a lot of teams. Most of the Melbourne clubs play at Marvel, like Kangaroos, Saints, Blues sometimes, Essendon sometimes, Bulldogs, Hawks. So quite a few teams. Holds about 50,000, which is a pretty good attendance. Yeah, there's not too much to say about it. Pretty standard ground. 3 tiers of seating. Yeah, that's pretty big. Serves its purpose as the second Melbourne ground. And can get pretty good atmosphere. Like, sometimes you get a North Melbourne home game against West Coast and be dead. But other games, like if you have like a Collingwood against like Western Bulldogs, it'll be a pretty good atmosphere. So I reckon put Marvel in A tier. MCG, now this is probably one of the best stadiums, if not the best in the AFL. Well, it's the MCG. It holds 100,000 people. Grand final every year. You get games like Collingwood Carlton, Anzac Day, Richmond v Collingwood, absolute blockbusters. Yeah, I've been there a couple of times. I went for the Dreamtime game a couple of years ago, and that was pretty good atmosphere. Seats, it is getting a bit old, and some of the stands haven't been renovated in 30 years, but it's still a pretty good venue considering its age, and is one of the biggest and best stadiums in the world. So I reckon I'm going to put it at the top of A tier. I'm not saying it's the best stadium, but I reckon top of A tier is where it belongs. Okay, next stadium, Manuka Oval. Now, I haven't been here, but it's GWS's home stadium for a couple of games here. Not too bad, not great. Pretty good size for GWS. I think they actually do get decent attendances, but not amazing. So I'm going to put it top, middle of C tier. Next stadium, NG Stadium. Pretty new built for the Sydney 2000 Olympics. Yeah, it's a pretty standard stadium. Atmosphere, not great. GWS play there. Average home attendance of about 2,000. So, not really any atmosphere, but stadium itself isn't too bad, so I'll probably put it in towards the end of C tier. Adelaide Oval, I've been to the Adelaide Oval. Pretty good ground. I went there and the Saints lost, so that bumps it down a bit, but pretty good. Pretty new ground. It's nice how you've got the old touch of the scoreboard and the hill, but then you've also got the new modern stands. So I reckon it's probably a good top of B tier for me. And then next one, probably the best stadium in the AFL, Optus Stadium. I've been there for a Western Derby between Fremantle and West Coast. Atmosphere was insane, even though West Coast sucked when I went. It was still a pretty good experience. It's a very new stadium, one of the most expensive stadiums. Probably the most expensive in the AFL, but it's very nice stadium with its lights and the outside and the interior all match up well. So I reckon I'm going to have to put it in the S tier. I'm saying it's the best stadium in the AFL. Not the D tier, the S tier. Next one, SCG. It is probably pretty high up for me with the heritage and also the just the stands. It can be a bit dead, but for some Swans games it gets pretty good atmosphere. So I'm probably gonna put it in the pretty good I'm gonna probably put it in the top of the B tier. And then finally we've got Blunston Arena. I've been here many, many times, so I've definitely got experience. Not the best stadium, probably a better cricket stadium than footy stadium. Crowds aren't great. North Melbourne don't get great crowds. But atmosphere's not too bad. The new Ponting stand is pretty good, but the old Boone stand's not great. But with the new seats, it's better. The hill can be pretty good atmosphere at times. So overall, it's probably a better cricket ground, but for AFL, I'm going to put it probably in the back end of C tier. So thanks for watching Ollie's on the Ball, a bit of a different video, and see you next time.